billionaires don't get bullied. You don't see that because billionaires, unfortunately, albeit accurately in most instances, think they live by a different code because they're usually cutting checks, not cashing them. And so when you take that into consideration and one of your own, a member of your clique, is presumably out there saying, there ain't a damn thing that they can do to me because I got dirt on all of them. Now you're invoking thoughts like betrayal and somebody that doesn't deserve to be a part of our inner circle. Because as we plot and plan, whether it's collective bargaining negotiations, naming rights for arenas and other deals that brings billions into our coffers, we're all aligned in our thinking. And as a result, we don't even have to say anything because we understand what this is about. And now somebody has revealed they're not about that cloth. They're about a different cloth. You can use Colin Kaepernick as a perfect example of that. We all know that Colin Kaepernick was blackballed. We all know that the narrative was hijacked and politicized and all of this other stuff. All it took was one owner to say, nah, we ain't flowing with that. None of them did. That's why the workout had to be orchestrated and conducted by the league, the workout that never took place. Why? Because no owner was willing to step forward and take a chance individually. It didn't have to be about collusion. They were all like-minded. There was an understanding. And when you have an owner like Dan Snyder, who's clearly revealed, according to the reports, that understanding is not applicable to him, now you got a different problem. The other thing I want to say is this. Jim Irsay, of all people, is out there talking about Dan Snyder. I mean, I don't even need to get in. I'm not trying to listen.
I was curious why Irsay, because you said other owners were aware that he was going to do this. Why
Jim Irsay is the guy, is the one who said you're doing too much and we don't rock with you. That's saying
just Google his history, drug issues and beyond, and all of this other stuff. I mean, damn it, he didn't listen.
But he's saying I have skeletons.
There we go.
You will investigate me till the cows come home.
That's right.
I'm out here on Front Street.
I'm out here on Front Street with all my skeletons. But by the way, it didn't look that damn stable yesterday, to be quite honest with you. In the video, it didn't look that stable. Just me. Just my personal opinion.
You know what's interesting, too, is that the Commanders come out with their statement, which essentially says, consider the source.
Please. Exactly.
As if you see that franchise has a shred of credibility the last X number of years, going back to Kimberly's time covering in 2017. When did they have any credibility? But they're saying publicly, consider the source.
That's right, exactly.
Again, I just cannot believe, and Stephen A., your point is perfect about bullies. These guys are the bullies.
That's right.
And they're going to be bullied by him.
It's not
you know what? I haven't heard any sort of counter to the reporting from the Washington Post and the ESPN on that story last week.
Absolutely.
I guess a week ago.
Hold on, Mike.
This is what I wanted to ask you. Does this say anything to you that Jim Irsay came out, and according to what Kimberly's saying, is other owners knew that he was going to come out and do this?
That's where we're going. That's where we're going with this, because think about this. You got Arthur Blank. You got Robert Kraft. You got Jerry Jones. You got Jeff Lurie. Despite his troubles, you got Stephen Ross. You got the Roonies. You got the Scotty. You got everybody. There's a whole bunch of people you could have picked to go out front. And the person that you presumably would be the last person amongst the ownership group that you'd want going in front of a camera to speak adamantly against Snyder is Jim Irsay. And they said, go ahead. And so that's a perfect indication of what's transpiring here. Clearly, Dan Snyder needs to be gone. Clearly, his days are very, very much numbered. There is no doubt about it, because they're sending a message, Molly, to answer your question directly. This man is no longer a part of our clique. And nobody is standing up for him but the organization that he owns. And by the way, their standing up for him was undermined by Ron Rivera's press conference last week when he lost it because he got tired of being asked questions, and he highlighted how difficult it was for them to come to work every day to have to deal with this as players and as coaches. So you know you can't take anything the organization is saying seriously. I feel bad for Jason Wright because we all root for him. African-American running an NFL franchise. He has our support. He wasn't there when all of this nonsense was transpiring in terms of the treatment of women and all of this other stuff. Julie Donaldson, she's overseeing communications. I've known her for years. She has nothing to do do with this. They're victims in this. They're trying to clean this stuff up. But this man, Daniel Snyder, ultimately, because of his years of evidently running his mouth behind the scenes and exposing what he truly, truly feels about his contemporaries, has turned his contemporaries against him, and they happen to be the people that literally oversee the league. His days are numbered.
So at the end of the day, do you see him being forced to sell?
He's got to go because they don't want him. You got to remember, there's a whole bunch of African Americans and other people that would love to own an NFL franchise. Okay, it's a clique that you have to be allowed in.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's not a right.
Yeah.
It's a privilege, and as they embrace you, so they can exile you.
So you all feel that way, Michael? Same thing. You think he'll be forced to sell?
I think that day is coming. If you ask me, again, given what the Robert Sarver situation adds some context. These things don't happen in a vacuum. I think we're coming to that. Look, they'll paint it some other way, Molly. They'll say, well, he decided to sell. We're talking about a franchise that's going to be sold for what, $5 billion or some upwards of? And if his original investment was Kimberly, about $1 billion, about $1.5 billion. Well, yeah, but then there was more put in to get out from under the minority owners.
Yes.
He's still talking about plus $3.5 billion.
Easy.
And by the way, not to get too much in the weeds here, but look, no municipality is trying to build him a stadium now.
Right.
And when you get NFL owners who know that revenue stream is not available to them anymore, and they cannot nobody's going to build him a stadium in the DMV. I mean, maybe somewhere else in Virginia, hundreds of miles away, maybe, but that's not been revealed either. So there's a lot of things confronting and challenging him now that 5 years ago or even a year ago, I think Kimberly and I having, been around this franchise and reported on it for, in my case, way too many decades. I'm not even going to say how many. There's some challenges. I don't think he's going to survive, Molly, to answer your question.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.